In this short video, I want to show the evolution of the pelvic area and the connection to the legs and the transformation of the pelvis in what we call the super short legs, so that you will be able to see how the entire gluteal area develops. So I tried to make them as comparable as possible and sort of made the chairs more or less, I mean, as much the same size as possible. But what you would be looking at, you will be looking at the proportion. So let's have a look at the series before. See here, that's a transition, and you can see that this transition goes on a kind of singular pivot where in fact you don't see so much of the double prong of the buttocks, you see it more as a bowl. Although the feet actually indicate a good grip to the ground, which many kids of course do not have, but the actual transition of the pelvis could be seen as pivoting on the spot. And then the second phase, right, so you see once the pivoting is finished, the second phase itself is also being this additional pivoting action. And now let's look at the new one. So what we are seeing, even you can see it really through the creases of the underwear, how much more grip the buttocks have to the ground. And you see, instead of having one singular pivoting, now we have the active usage of the individual buttocks, and you can see this changed relationship with, I'll increase this one a bit more so that they become more comparable. Oops, yes. So, but you can really see how the pelvis changes, right? So how the new one, for exactly the same platform, and you see I'm actually like now boosted the size of the before, which I have to make it smaller to get the chair more comparable. So you can see the difference. One singular rolling, and now this is transition. See, there is a weight transfer on the buttock, then a separate action of the leg, then it's another weight transfer and a separate action of the leg. So this is what we call the super short leg formation within the pelvis. That the pelvis plays the role of this divider, which has the insert of the V-shape sacrum, and then you have two separate prongs, one for each single contact at the sitting bones. So you see, in that respect, you have to observe and see these are the super short legs. And unless you have the control of the super short legs, all the way from the pelvic connection to the ground, right? And you only have one bowl-like connection, then of course you wouldn't be able to connect the individual, to control the individual legs, even if your feet are doing relatively well at the floor, which we see for this young man. So in fact, you want to have this double connection at the feet and double connection at the buttocks, so that the double division goes upwards and the double division goes downwards for the control of the walking. But I believe that this transformation of the pelvis is very, very remarkable. You see how it glues and grips and gets all these transformations of the shape when he gets in contact with the sitting platform. And of course, as a result, see the legs now, where they used to roll together. Now you can see all of these individual moves, and you can see all these micro adjustments and the micro changes of the grip when he is controlling himself on the sitting platform. And of course, also you see as he stands up, you can see that the buttocks stay big instead of kind of just closing in into a single unit as they did before. Now we really have much larger leg connection. But on the other hand, once the lift is completed, now you can see, right, with this lift, that the total configuration of the buttocks has got much more accentuated, and you can really see that this is the growth of the gluteal part, which then also comes with the individual separation of the legs, whilst here that separation is much poorer, so where we can really have a hard time reading the sitting bones and the transition between the horizontal pelvis and the vertical legs. So I believe that's a very good lesson, and would be helpful for all of you to understand as the process of the evolution, right? Because of course this is a walking child, this is a somewhat more advanced situation, but okay, he was walking with difficulties, and the thing is that this is universally true for all scenarios. We want to have these articulated developments. Horizontal pelvis, the girdle is supposed to be horizontal. And then within this horizontal girdle, then you'd have division into 3 parts. You need to have the good center in order to divide the left and right part. So left and right part, they don't exist. So you see here, it's more that kind of T-shaped division, which just gets them there. But in fact, it's even more this kind of A-frame connection that goes in a typical way, right, of an expanded triangle. And then, of course, afterwards, we're discussing the fact that the leg is actually vertical, right? So you see the leg is vertical, the pelvis is horizontal, the leg is vertical. So the same thing here. When we do not see enough of the horizontality of the pelvis, then the leg just merges. So it becomes one line, right? One line that pivots much further at the depression of the lumbar, and then of course the control becomes much more difficult. And in order to have this division in a really accentuated fashion, so this is horizontal, this is vertical, but then there is this stitch, the extra platform, the sitting platform that divides them, right? So you see that's the sitting bone, that's that sitting transition that we have seen earlier. So, and that's why, I'm just reversing the picture and showing you how different are the pelvic appearances upon the close inspection. You see, that's the grip, that's another grip, that's a third grip, right? So you see multiple grips to the ground that we can see at the pelvic floor, multiple grips in sitting. They are the basis of the good grips in standing and the quality of the link to the ground. So again, I hope that this is a helpful lesson and visualization that is going to be valuable for you to understand how the connections work and what we actually want to improve, right? So in that sense, that's the unique feature of ABR, that we can address all of those elements. We can address the sitting bones, make them more connected and receptive. We can address the divisions between the sacrum and the gluteal, make them more divided, right? So you see more articulated. We can articulate the edges of the connection for the iliacs, and of course we can kind of contribute towards the fill up of the actual buttocks and the gluteals, so with the developments over there. So this is very visible illustration of both the lesson of how things should evolve, and of course of that this progress did not appear out of nowhere. This progress did not appear out of just kind of spontaneous growth, because this is a 20-plus-year-old, right? But it came via the ABR inspired and ABR induced evolution. So thank you for your attention, and please share those videos with those that you believe could benefit from this understanding. Cheers!